Hi, this is Brendan from Airmax, here today to show you how to perform maintenance on a KA40 aeration compressor. Recommended maintenance for that compressor is every 6 to 12 months for optimum performance. The tools you'll need to complete this maintenance are a number 2 Phillips screwdriver, a small pick tool, and a 7mm nut driver. Included in your maintenance kit are 2 inner diaphragm assemblies, 2 outer diaphragm assemblies, 2 diaphragm backboards, 2 diaphragm front boards, and 4 protective washers. To start, flip the compressor over. Use your number 2 Phillips screwdriver to remove the 4 screws securing the outer casing. Now, separate the upper and lower casing to expose the 2 diaphragm assemblies. First, remove the 4 screws holding down the black diaphragm top plate. Starting with one of the diaphragms, remove the rubber boot from the outer diaphragm assembly. Then remove the 4 screws securing the outer diaphragm assembly using a number 2 Phillips screwdriver. Use a small pick tool to separate the outer diaphragm from the inner diaphragm. Next, remove and save the center retaining nut and 2 washers using your 7mm nut driver. Now, remove the inner diaphragm, including the diaphragm front boards and back boards. Take note of the 2 metal rings. Now you are ready to install the new diaphragm. Grab a new diaphragm front board. The diaphragm front board is the one with the 4 pegs. Apply the protective washer on the top of the diaphragm front board. Grab a new inner diaphragm. Align the 4 pegs with the 4 holes inside the inner diaphragm. Push the front board firmly into place and make sure the pegs come through evenly on the reverse side of the inner diaphragm. Place the 2 metal rings onto the inner diaphragm assembly. Align the 2 lines on the front board to be pointed to the notches on the inner diaphragm. Install the inner diaphragm into the armature with the 2 lines being vertical and the metal rings to be between the inner diaphragm and the armature. Next, install the second protective washer onto the diaphragm, followed by the diaphragm backboard with the flat side facing outwards. It can be helpful to tilt the compressor to keep the washer and diaphragm backboard in place. Install the flat washer, lock washer, and nut. Use the 7mm nut driver to securely tighten the nut. Next, reinstall the outer diaphragm assembly by matching up the notch on the assembly with the notch on the compressor motor and secure with the 4 assembly screws. Now, reconnect the rubber boot to the outer diaphragm assembly. Repeat these steps for the other diaphragm assembly. Remove the rubber boot. Then remove the 4 screws securing the inner and outer diaphragm assembly. Use a small pick tool to separate the outer diaphragm from the inner diaphragm. Remove the center retaining nut and washer. Now remove the diaphragm backboard, protective washer, inner diaphragm assembly, and inner protective washer. Grab a new diaphragm front board and apply the protective washer. Grab a new inner diaphragm. Firmly install the new diaphragm front board onto the inner diaphragm assembly, ensuring the pegs come through evenly on the reverse side. Place the 2 metal rings onto the inner diaphragm assembly. Align the 2 lines on the front board to be pointing to the notches on the inner diaphragm. Install the inner diaphragm into the armature with the 2 lines being vertical and ensuring the 2 metal rings are in place. Install another protective washer and the diaphragm backboard. Install the flat washer, lock washer, and nut. Reinstall the outer diaphragm assembly. and secure with the 4 assembly screws. Finally, reconnect the rubber boot. After completing both diaphragms, double check to make sure you have proper alignment between the 2 stators. Next, reinstall the black diaphragm top plate. Reinstall the 4 screws with washers to the top plate and securely tighten with a number 2 Phillips screwdriver. Once both diaphragm assemblies have been replaced, carefully reattach and secure the upper and lower casings using the 4 case screws. This completes the maintenance of your KA40 aeration compressor. This is a great time to change your air filter. To replace the air filter, remove the air filter cap on the back of the compressor. Remove and replace the air filter, then re-secure the air filter cap. For more information, contact your local dealer or visit us online at airmaxeco.com.